Right.
I need to tell you something. I'm going on the walk now.
Okay, give me a kiss. I'm going on the Facebook Live. With you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. With you.
I've got my backpack on.
Yeah.
It's got my jetpack.
There's your jetpack, yeah. That's cool. That's really cool, isn't it?
Whoa. Why is it doing everything I did on the other?
Yeah, it's doing it on both, isn't it? Oh. I wonder where Jamila's gone. Where's Jamila gone? Right, go on then. See you later. Love you. Go on, hurry up. Right, let's go. Right, let's go. Hey, hope you're well. Just going to get this Facebook Live started. Actually, no, I'm going to start that one. All right, just bear me a second. I'm just going to get my slides up. I'm still getting used to this software. So just bear me a second. Hi, Jamila. Okay. Hi, Jamila. Hope you're well. So Jamila's just joined me now. She'll be fielding any questions and making sure I do deal with any questions that come into the Facebook group. But in today's live, what I wanted to share with you is something that I geek out on all the time. But if you're struggling to get views on your website, I put this event together to get you thinking about some of the tools you might use and some of the techniques you might use by yourself. So for example, if you're using a website company, they should be doing these things for you. Or if you're using a search engine optimization person, then you should already be getting this as part of your service. But having said that, this is also a good way of checking up on your website provider to make sure they are doing the things that they say they're doing. As I found out from a very good friend of mine that he had been paying a significant sum of money, and this is not an isolated incident, and they had told him that they were doing his search engine optimization. He'd paid thousands and thousands of pounds for this service, to then find out that they'd actually not done anything that they said they had. But when you're dealing with large website agencies, last thing you want to do is get into a legal battle with something that you don't understand. So what I'm hoping to do here is give you some more information about how you can free yourself from your business and how you can start to create a better understanding of your website, and then think about systems and processes that you can add on the back end, so you can bring in employees or outsource agencies to start doing this work for you, with a better understanding ultimately of how you can manage it, if that makes sense. So effectively elevating yourself from that technician level to that manager level, and then if you've got a manager managing your website and your website content, then you move up to the owner level, and that's the place that I like to get you to, so you can free yourself from your business shackles. Now I'm still getting used to this software, so hopefully you can see my screen. So are you struggling to get views on your website? I'm just trying to see where my Facebook Live has gone. Jamila, can you let me know on the chat whether the Facebook Live is working, because I seem to have lost it at my end. Just bear with me a second, guys. I just want to make sure the Facebook Live is working. I go to the live page. It looks like it's working. No, it's not there. Is it on my page? Yes, it is working. Okay, thank you. slight delayed response. But when you're live streaming, I don't know anyone that's done live streaming, when you're doing a live stream, there tends to be like a 5 to 10 second delay with questions coming through. So it can look like I'm a bit of pausing, waiting for people to come back with questions and confirmation. So let me just click next. So my mission ultimately, and why I'm doing this webinar series and doing these free sessions. So every Wednesday at 11 o'clock, I'm doing these free sessions just to help small business owners and entrepreneurs get a better understanding of the tool sets that are available to us for free. But ultimately what I want to do, and my mission, is you know how business owners struggle to find time to do literally anything, like finding time to do all of the different components, the marketing, the sales, the operations, the delivery, everything that we have to do as business owners. Well, I'm developing a training program, and this is giving you a taster of that training program that is designed to help you free you from your business shackles. So when I talk about the business shackles, I literally, the shackles of your business that are holding you back from living the life that you want. So I've made it my mission to develop something, develop this training program. So I've got messages pinging off left, right, and center. It's typical, isn't it, when you're doing a Facebook Live? This is my family, and my reason why. You know, I want to spend more time with my family, and I made a lot of errors when running my own award-winning accountancy practice, whereby I was dedicated to my work, and it was taking me away from the one thing that I wanted, which was ultimately to spend more time with my family. So if you're anything like me and you want to free yourself from your business shackles, then please do keep watching these free webinar series, and I'm going to share as much information as I can to help you free you from your business. In this picture here, you can see my wife, who's just given birth to our son Jackson, and you can see Tobias there smiling, very, very happy with his new brother. Jackson is now 11 months, soon to be 1 year old, which it just seems like a blink of an eye, and this is all just happening in the background. We travel a lot as a family, we get to spend lots and lots of beautiful time together, and I want to inspire every other business owner to get that from their business as well. So my purpose is I'm committed to changing the lives of entrepreneurs and small business owners. I tend to get asked why, and something I believe very, very firmly is that we as the small business owners, we're the ones that are going to change the world. The big businesses aren't going to be the ones that change the world. It's going to be us. And why do I say that? Well, there's 163 million small businesses worldwide. Now, all it would take is for all of us to shift at the same time, and that would create monumental movements in business and industry and everything else that's happening in the world at the moment. And how am I going to deliver this? Well, ultimately, I'm going to be teaching you to free yourself from your business, to inspire you to find your freedom and ultimately your paradise. Now, whatever your paradise looks like, it could be sitting with a laptop on a beach in Barbados, or it could be playing with a laptop, sitting in the Alps on some fresh snow. Depending on where that paradise is for you, I hope this series of free content and all the stuff that I'm pushing out will help you get that one step closer and help you get those incremental increases in your business. So a little bit about me. So why am I qualified to help in this situation? So I started my career back in 2002 as an accounting apprentice. I moved very slowly in my career, believing that sticking to a career was the right thing to do. And little did I know that there was an entrepreneur always hiding inside of me, waiting to be freed. I first freed the entrepreneur in 2014. I then later sold my business in 2018 due to basically being trapped in my business and the business trapping me and various other things. But I've spent basically the last 2 years, well, not even the last 2 years, the last 6 years, mastering how to master business, how to free yourself, learning about pricing. I mean, here's a bit of my resume. So I am a business mentor. So I've worked with thousands of business owners worldwide, from Canada, America, Australia, Europe, you name it. I've probably mentored a business business and the business industry. Mainly I've worked with accountants and bookkeepers, but I've worked with many different industries. I have got specialisms in accountancy, innovation, marketing. I'm an investor, so I invest in small business startups, which is working incredibly well. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a continual giver, pricing expert, speaker, and also an international and Amazon bestselling author. So that's enough about me. Let's move on. That's just where I believe I can help you and share some of the insights that I've learned in all of those areas. And I hope that you can have some key takeaways from the experience that I've had. Now, if you wanted to find out more about how I could help you, so if you're a business owner struggling and you think, you know what, I could do with more help from Jamie, then please do visit jamieselby.com. That'd be absolutely fantastic. We've only just recently launched the website, so everything is being built in the background as we speak. To manage your expectations, it's going to be a 30-minute presentation, and I will leave time at the end for Q&A. So if you've got any questions that you'd like answering, I love questions because that really helps me. And this will be topical because this is what we're covering actually in this session. So how to get website visitors. So what do I mean by website visitors? So if somebody goes onto Google and they're searching your business, so I've got my friend Stephen here live with us on the Facebook group. If Stephen wanted to get visitors, what would they do typically in today's age and right now during this COVID-19 outbreak? Typically, they will go onto Google. They'll do a Google search and they'll Google something like bookkeeper or bookkeeper Launceston, bookkeeper Australia. Now, whatever business you're in, plumber Nottingham, roofing contractor Nottingham, roofing contractor London, relocation person London, relocation person Nottingham, relocation person Canada, relocation person New York. So typically what people will do is they will go to Google to go and find the answers. Now, I will either use one of two tools myself. I will use YouTube or I will use Google to typically try and find the answers that I'm looking for. I don't tend to go looking for answers on Facebook, but although I feel like people are following me around, once I've done a Google search, I feel like they're always following me around, and that's I can't remember what the term is, remarketing. So sorry about that. Let me just have a drink. Always stay well hydrated, especially when you're in an air-conditioned room. So when we've done those Google searches, so somebody's done a Google search, they land on your website. And what we're hoping to do, and I'm using this image here to illustrate, is we're hoping that the visitors come into the website and then out of the funnel. And you'll hear that term said a lot. You'll hear sales funnel, marketing funnel, lots and lots of times. And you might be saying, well, what is that? Well, the funnel for me is, you know, put water in, or you're putting oil in your car, you put a funnel in, it makes it nice and easy to get the oil into the car. But obviously funnel in a marketing and sales perspective, and when it comes to your website, is we want to create a funnel whereby we've got masses of people hopefully searching for what we can do and what we can offer, the problems that we can solve. But obviously we need to know what people are typing into those search engines so that we can make our website what's called search engine optimized. And if it's not search engine optimized, when people go into Google and search for, basically they're searching for us, well, we like to think that. If they're searching for us, then we need to feature at the top of Google. Now, as a bit of a test for all of you, so anybody watching, what I would be tempted to do right now, whilst we're on this webinar, is actually go to Google now, type in your business name. Does your business name come to the top of Google? That's a good start. Does it fill the whole first page of Google? Does it fill the whole, all the photos in Google? Does it fill all the videos in Google? If it does, you're one step closer to obviously generating fantastic amounts of leads and customers to your website. The second thing I want you to do is type in your name. So just type in your name into Google, and again, see whether you're coming at the top of Google. Now, if you're not coming at the top of Google, again, you need to be focusing on that as part of your search engine optimization strategy, because when people meet you, typically they'll associate your face with your name, and they will remember your face more than they will remember your name. But hopefully if you give them a business card post COVID-19 right now, or if they come across you in a networking event and they try and do a Google search, typically they will be searching your name, which is your personal brand. Now, when they do that Google search, again, you want to be featuring, or your website wants to be featuring at the top of Google searches. So that is at the top of your funnel. So that's where the people are coming in. So again, just to keep this nice and simplistic, you've got a website where people are coming to your website and you want them to do something. Well, ultimately, you want them to buy from you, but it's a very difficult process to get somebody who is a cold lead to come and buy from you. It's almost like you dating. So you meet someone in a bar and say, right, I fancy nipping off to the hotel room and let's get it on. You've never met that person in your life. You've only just met them. It's a bit of a drastic strategy, to say the least, and you're not going to get very many wins. And that's effectively what a lot of business owners do, is they try to convert those leads into customers straight away. Now, the way we have to do it is we have to build value in the minds of the customer. But I'm going to save that for another webinar before I go off on a tangent, because I geek out on this stuff. But it's vitally important that you understand the journey that the customer's going on, because, okay, we're getting leads, but as those leads are coming into our funnel, are we actually converting them to customers, and how are we going to convert them? So if they are cold, how do we warm them up to us, and how do we do that in the most scalable way? And again, that is by using some of the techniques I'm going to share as we go through. So again, I like to start with the end in mind. So when you're thinking about your business, like I have lots of business owners coming to me saying, Jamie, I need loads, I want loads and loads of leads. So I can go out there and I can go and get you loads and loads of leads. It might cost you £100 to £1,000 a month, depending on how many leads that you want. But is your business in a position to take on as many leads as I'm going to give you? Does that make sense? Because if tomorrow you had 100 inquiries, would you be able to field all those 100 inquiries? Now, I'm not saying, I mean, any marketer that says that is talking nonsense. It's very, very difficult to build up the confidence curve, or the value curve, or the trust curve, as I like to call it. And that's how we convert customers from cold to warm to hot to ultimately to being a paying customer. But obviously we need to understand as a business owner, okay, what are my numbers? How many customers can I take on? What is my, if I'm already working 70 hours a week, and this is important to remember because I made this mistake in my business, I doubled in size in the first 12 months. So we acquired a small practice, we doubled in size in the first 12 months, we doubled in size in the second 12 months, and we grew too quickly. We were taking on clients left, right, and center, and it was too much. We didn't have a strategy in place to say, well, okay, we're only going to intake customers every quarter, and we're going to put a plan of attack as to say, well, okay, this is the strategy that I'm going to follow to take customers on every quarter, and I'm only ever going to take on 20 customers in that quarter. Now, there's a lot of clever things going off there with scarcity and mindset by saying that you're only taking on 20 customers, but also as a business owner, we now understand what we need to put in place to take on board that additional 20 customers. Does that make sense? Like, okay, you've got no guarantee that 20 customers will sign up, but you can put in a plan of attack and start to understand, well, okay, how many visitors do I need to my website? How many of those website visitors are then going to contact you, or how many do we need to contact you to then turn into leads? So if they've made the contact, they then become a lead to then take action. So they've become a lead, they've gone on your email list, and they've actually started to take action now because they're starting to read some of your content. So they're starting their trust curve journey with you. And as they're building up that trust with you, they're more likely to come on board as a customer, rather than going straight from not knowing you straight to jumping in bed with you, basically, in putting it in the most simplistic terms as I can. Then how many of those people are actually converting into proposals? So, for example, if you've got 1,000 visitors, and then you've got 100 people taking action, but of those 100 people, only one person is actually going to a proposal. Obviously, now you understand the numbers. So if you need to bring on 20 customers, then in theory, you need to bring in 20,000 leads into your website and into your funnel to then convert them to a proposal stage. But then from that proposal stage, how many of them actually turn into sales? So of those 20 people that come in, how many of those convert to sales? So if only 25% of those convert to sales, that's 5 people that are converting into sales. Now, hopefully I'm not baffling you too much, but you need to understand, and this is something that Daniel Priestley talks about, is understand your laps. So your leads, it says leads, appointments, proposals, and sales. So you need to understand those numbers from your website. If you don't understand those numbers from your website, then you need to be speaking with your website developer or whoever is doing the website for you, if you're outsourcing it to an agency, and ask them whether they can start to extract some of this data for you. Is there somebody in your administrative team that can start to pull some of these numbers together for you, so you can better understand how well is your website performing? Because if you have a website that's costing you, again, I'm just making these numbers up, £1,000 a month, and it's not generating, it's getting you one customer a month, and that one customer is worth £100, is it actually worth having the website for £1,000 a month? Is it worth outsourcing it to that agency? Because the end result is a customer paying you £100. So you need to understand the efficiency of how many visitors ultimately you need to get to a paid customer. And if you don't understand that, it's going to be very difficult for you to think about your strategy as to how you're going to get customers in. Because, and again, let's put this into context. If you went and got 20,000 leads, which there are some very simple strategies to get 20,000 leads into your website, and most marketers could probably guarantee that as a 20,000 leads, but they might not be leads that are going to buy from you. Ultimately, you could do a prize giveaway of a MacBook Pro, which is about £2,500. And if you market it well enough, you will be pretty much guaranteed to get probably more than 20,000 leads. That's just a prize giveaway of a MacBook Pro. So for £2,500, you've got 20,000 leads. But if those leads are not the ones that you want, and you haven't done the research as to the type of leads that you want, which is where it comes the term niche. So when you're trying to niche or niche, as I've heard it called, it's so many different names. When you're doing that, what you're doing is you're targeting a specific customer in mind when you're putting together what's called a campaign to get your customers into your funnel and then ultimately out the bottoms. I may be baffling you, some of you, and I apologize, but you really need to understand your core numbers and take it back to the lap. So you need to understand your leads, your appointments, your proposals, and your sales. If you understand those numbers, then you can understand how much money you can then invest into your marketing strategy. Because if the sales are worth £5,000 each, and that's every year, so it's a recurring customer, which for bookkeepers, accountants, some web agencies, it tends to be recurring work. If that work is worth £5,000, is it worth investing £5,000 into your marketing strategy, into generating the leads, the appointments, and the proposals? And how much does that cost you ultimately to get to that position? So in the end, we understand how much our website costs, how much our marketing costs, and then effectively what is the cost per sale. So that's ultimately what we're trying to get to. That's that end result, that end number, just the one core metric that we need to understand. How much does it cost us to get a sale? And when we know that number, and that number is a positive number, we can then just keep pumping money into that marketing machine, into that funnel, and keep pumping money and leads into that funnel. And then we can then focus on developing that funnel. So again, going back, we can just focus on turning those cold customers into warm customers and tweaking things. It's almost like fine tuning an engine. So we're trying to fine tune an engine to get it to its optimal performance. But obviously we need to get the engine into working state, i.e. moving. So it's converting customers towards sales. It's converting customers into leads, into appointments, into proposals, and then ultimately into sales. Definitely worthwhile looking into Daniel Priestley, who talks about leads, appointments, proposals, and sales. Fantastic guy, fantastic guru. Google him. He will definitely be coming up to the top of Google. Massive influencer. And if you want to understand more about marketing, and business in general, he's definitely somebody that you need to look into. And he's been one of my teachers and mentors. So this is normally where the presentation will go wrong, because I've now got to switch from my slides to showing you a tool. So tool time, Neil Patel SEO tool called Uber Suggests. So again, to help you understand search engine optimization is basically, in a nutshell, Google, YouTube. So you know the little search bar in any of these pieces of software. We need to understand what people are typing into those search engines to get results. So what are they typing into the little search engine on Facebook? What are they typing into the search engine in YouTube? What are they typing into the search engine in Google? Ultimately looking for answers. If we can answer their questions, and this is where Neil Patel really kicks in. So I'm going to try and stop sharing that sort of thing. And I'm going to try and share my screen. Share my screen one. Hoping to get this nailed in half an hour, but I'm sorry, I just geek out on this stuff. So I hope you're getting value from this anyway. But what we can do here, again, this is like a search engine tool as well. It's very simple to use. So you just go to neilpatel.com. This guy, well worth signing up to some of the free content that he kicks out. Again, don't consume too much content, because if you're consuming too much content, it can cloud your ability to turn that the content that you're consuming, into actions. So just as Jim Quick says, knowledge is potential power. So a lot of people say knowledge is power. I agree with Jim Quick in the sense of knowledge is potential power. So what that means is if you've got all this knowledge and you're doing nothing with it, then it's pointless knowledge, isn't it? Right, so let's say we want to search for a bookkeeper. So we're a bookkeeper. This is the most simplistic thing. So whatever industry that you're in, if you're a cleaner, if you're a plumber, if you're an electrician, whatever industry that you're in, the easiest thing to start with on this tool is just typing in that into the search. So if I just put bookkeeper in there and type search, I'm just signing with Google because it will it'll give me more options basically. I don't know why that's doing that. Why has that done that? No, let's go back. Let's just go back to that because this would just keep it nice and simple. So search volume. So the word bookkeeper is searched a lot, and this is where I've set the search engine criteria. So in England, in the United Kingdom, so Wales, Scotland, and England, and Ireland, the search volume is 14,800. So that's every single month. There's 14,800 people searching the word bookkeeper. The SEO difficulty is 48. So the higher the number here, the more difficult it is to rank for that search engine term. So for example, if you were to start putting bookkeeper into your content so that you start to feature when people are typing in the search, I'm looking for a bookkeeper, and you want to feature on the first page on Google or first page on YouTube or first page on Facebook or the first page on whatever search engine tool that person is using, then this difficulty score is 48 out of 100. So it's kind of mid-level. Obviously, the lower the score, the easier it is to rank for that search engine term. Paid difficulty is 42 out of 100. So again, it's pushing towards that mid-level term. And cost per click, and this is where again knowing your numbers is vitally important to this, because if you need to get 20,000 leads, you would have to pay £5.66 for each one of those leads, which does so it's about 100 grand, just over £100,000 to get 20,000 leads. So there's always ways of guaranteeing the results, but if you're paying for those clicks and they're turning into leads, then is it worth £100,000? Now, if that £100,000 that's turning into £200,000 worth of revenue, hell yes, it's definitely worth it. If it's costing you £100,000 in revenue, to run the ads to get 20,000 leads, and it's only generating you £50,000, is it worth it? No, hell no. You're going to be running at a minus £50,000, and that's where the magic of the numbers sorry, is really going to help you better understand how to be successful at marketing and how better to understand how to get website visitors, which is where obviously search engine optimization, the difficulty score of 58 for bookkeeper is quite difficult. But then if we narrow that search, so let's go bookkeeper Nottingham. I'm hoping this SEO score should be less. So SEO difficulty is less, but actually paid difficulty is more. It's actually more expensive. So it's more difficult to feature on the first page of Google for bookkeeper Nottingham than it is just bookkeeper. But obviously we don't want to be too broad, because if we're too broad, our budgeting, our cost per click is also going to go up. So our cost per click has gone down. So £100,000 has now gone down to about £88,000 to get 20,000 clicks, which are ultimately potential leads. And search volume for bookkeeper Nottingham is actually 40. So chances are we're not going to get 20,000 leads per month. We wouldn't get 20,000 leads per month on the previous one because there was only 14,800 people searching bookkeeper. So it's important to obviously understand that. But if we had 40 people searching this every month and we were paying £4.45, that also helps us set a budget for our potential cost per click advertising. So it's important to understand that as part of our strategy. But when we're producing content, we want to focus on the SEO difficulty here. So we can use this. There's so many different functionality for this tool, but I've gone over time a little bit. So I think I'm going to call it a day at that. Next week on the Wednesday at 11. So I'll be running these lives again at Wednesday 11, and I'm going to cover another tool. I'm just going to show you this very, very quickly. So this is probably one of the strangest websites I've ever been on, but you certainly remember it. So again, with the content that we're producing, so if we're producing a blog post, if we're producing any video content, if we're producing brochures, if we're producing website copy that goes in, and effectively the words that go into our website, any content that we push out into the World Wide Web, social media posts, everything, all of that content, we need to tailor it for what the public are asking for. So this is where Answer the Public comes in. It's a fantastic name because it gives you the opportunity to answer the questions that the public are asking. So again, let's go. Research. That's not what I was trying to do. Keeper. Again, just to do like for like. So this is in England again. This is in England again. So this is 23rd of June. Now this data will change from time to time, but there are 60 questions that customers are answering or asking. So bookkeeper, how to become. So they're more trying to understand how to become a bookkeeper. So if you were trying to help people become bookkeepers, then you would create an article, how to become a bookkeeper. So when somebody searches that on Google, your article should feature more, it should feature higher. Obviously, you're in competition with other people that are putting out content like that. Bookkeeper, how to get clients. Again, that's a bookkeeper searching for how to get clients. I'm trying to find why bookkeeper is good, why bookkeeper is, there we go, why a bookkeeper is important. So any business owner that's searching that is trying to say, why is a bookkeeper so important? They probably don't understand the true value of a bookkeeper. So you create an article called Why a Bookkeeper is Important, and then include in that article as many times as you can why a bookkeeper is important. So those exact words, obviously it's got to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, Google will not rank that article. Does that make sense? So if I put Why a Bookkeeper is Important as the title, and then start it with Why a Bookkeeper is Important, and that's because why a bookkeeper is important, it doesn't make any sense. Does that make, you used to be able to do that with search engine optimization, but the Google algorithm has got a lot clever. What else have we got here? When does a bookkeeper do? Can a bookkeeper become an accountant? Bookkeeper. Here we go. Can a bookkeeper prepare financial statements? So that could be a business owner asking to see whether their bookkeeper can actually do their financial statements, or trying to understand whether a bookkeeper can do that. Where can a bookkeeper work? Where to find a bookkeeper? There we go. Where to find a bookkeeper. Again, search engine optimization. So the public are asking these questions. Now, the great thing about this tool is you can download a CSV of this file. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as the paid for version, but they're Bookkeeper Near Me UK. So these are all search terms that people are putting into Google. So again, what this is doing is this is potentially creating you a lot of work. I think my camera's gone. Where's my camera gone? Has my camera gone? Yes, I think it has. It's potentially creating you a lot of work, because obviously creating all these articles, creating all this content, which is why obviously generating website leads is fantastic, and it's fantastic for your business. But when we're generating leads for our business, we need to understand how much scalability have we got within our business, because if it's just us and we're the only one delivering the service, there's no scalability, because we only have 24 hours in a day. And in those 24 hours, we've got to eat, sleep, do some exercise, spend some time with the family, do some meditation, focus on our health, all of these different things that we should be doing. Again, what's common sense is not always common practice, as my coach would say, Miles Grant. It's important to understand that if you haven't got that scope to bring those customers in, then why are you focusing on producing this content? Does that make sense? So it all depends on where you're at in business as to how much you will focus on this. So where a lot of people are thinking, yeah, all I need is loads more leads, and if I've got loads more leads, that one more customer will solve it for me. Potentially, yes, that one more customer could solve your problems, but only, and this is another subject I talk about a lot, only if you're pricing that client right. And if you're pricing that client right with your, what I call the seller's reserve price, if you don't price it right with the seller's reserve price, then you're always going to be stuck in the same situation, because it's always going to be you doing the work, and it's going to be very hard for you to evolve your business from that technician level and free yourself from your business. Now, I believe very, very firmly that you can't go from the technician level to the owner level straight away. You need to transition yourself from the technician to the manager to the owner. Now, some of the work here to do with lead generation is actually technician level work. So why should you be the one doing it? Again, happy to answer any questions as to how you can search for people on Upwork. So potentially outsource that job role. The only reason I would say outsource that job role, that's the cheapest method. But I would only say that, I recommend that if and only if you had a very good grasp of search engine optimization, you had a very good grasp of the systems and processes, so that you have consistency of content going out there. And that's something I'd like to share on another week's webinar or Facebook Live. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Do we need a CRM? So I've just got here, I've got Stephen Mulligan. Do we need a CRM? A CRM tool is definitely fantastic. So I'm just going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, so hopefully I'm back live with Jamila here. Jamila, if you want to turn your camera off, you can. Do we need do we need, this is Jamila waving. So do we need a CRM? Yes, I do believe you need a CRM. If you go to appsumo.com, they have a deal on something called Suite Dash, which is, I think it's something like $49 or $69 for a lifetime license. And again, just using the tools, because if you go to something like HubSpot or something more sophisticated as a CRM tool like Infusionsoft or something like that, the problem with those tools is that they're incredibly expensive. And for most small business owners, you might be paying for all of this tool set and not using it to its full potential. If you're using it to its full potential, HubSpot and Infusionsoft are absolute game changers, but you would need to be investing, I would say, at least £2,000 to £3,000, if not £4,000 a month into having somebody manage those tools and making sure that you're maximizing the use of those tools for automation purposes. And that's as a minimum, really. Will your next video talk about software to help control and monitor leads? I can definitely do one on that, because there's a tool called Funnelytics. It's a very, very new tool, and that tool, you can link it into your Facebook, link it into your Google, link it into your website, and it will start to tell you what everyone's doing. So, for example, if you post something on Facebook, the Funnelytics software will tell you how many people clicked on that, how many people then went to your website, how many people actually bought something off your website, which is why I recommend to any business owner is actually sell something on your website. So when you have a call to action, so for example, with bookkeepers, most bookkeepers and accountants will offer a free consultation. I believe very, very firmly that we should stop doing that as a profession. Offer a free quote, but not a free consultation. If clients want to understand a bit more about you, give them free content that is scalable in the sense of video content, or do like what I'm doing now, live webinars. So do live webinars talking about some of the stuff that you do as a bookkeeper, or you do as a joiner, or you do as a business owner that you believe will help your customers. And again, use Uber Suggest and Answer the Public to come up with content ideas that are going to help prompt questions. But then, like Stephen, now that question now, will your next video talk about software to help about control and monitor leads? It's definitely going to be on the list, although I think you've just deleted it. Is lead magnet not enough? No, lead magnet is a great starting point. So a lead magnet is a great starting point because, and effectively this is where funnel strategy comes in. So when we're starting to think about the funnel, is once somebody signed up for our lead magnet, we now have their email address. So that goes into a different strategy, because now we're off the website funnel and now we're into an email funnel. And with the email funnel, we've now converted them into a lead. So for example, on our leads numbers, on our lapse number, we would put 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 or however many people have signed up to the lead magnet. Then from the amount of people that signed up to the lead magnet, we then actively try and sell them into a paid for consultation, whereby we're trying to give our customers maximum value during that consultation. And at the end of it, we'll give them a no obligation quote. And that's something I believe in very, very firmly. The same for gardeners, the same for joiners, the same for electricians. I know a lot of people say, oh yeah, but no customer will sign up. Well, it's something that needs to change in the industry. I would quite happily pay for somebody to come and do a consultation for me and give me a report or a drawing or a diagram of how I can solve the problem myself. I would more than happily pay for that. If somebody, what I would not be happy to pay for is for somebody just to give me a price on a piece of work. So for example, if I've had a drawing drawn up, last thing I'd want to be doing is just paying for you to give me a quote for you to do the work, if that makes sense. Because the other thing that I recommend in my pricing structure or my price mentoring is that you include or you incorporate into your cost structure the cost of the meeting. So if you were doing some free quotations, how long are those free quotation meetings taking you, travel time, take into consideration everything, and then you've got to add that into your proposal. Otherwise you're going to struggle to make enough money to transition from that technician to that manager level, because you're not going to be able to bring in the technicians underneath you to start delivering some of the work that you need to do to free yourself from your business. So is there any more questions? Jamila, have we got any more questions? No. Okay. If nobody's got any more questions, then thank you for joining me today. Really enjoyed today's session. As you can see, I absolutely geek out on this stuff. So I apologize for going off a little bit off topic, but I'm finishing just 1 minute past time. But anyway, thank you ever so much. I hope you have a fantastic Wednesday. Please do come and join me next Wednesday. Like I say, I will be doing these live every Wednesday. So please do share this with your friends if you think they'll benefit from this, or add it into your diary, or come and like the Jamie Selby Facebook page, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you've got. So just PM me as well. So anyway, thank you for joining me. Take care. Bye bye.